Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Jenna Stauffer. Now, later on in today's show, we'll be talking with my three favorite women. They call themselves Three Loud Women. They have big ideas with big dreams and big mouths. I'll also be talking with Kim Romano from Womankind. We'll be going over bioidentical hormones. But before all that, my first guest this morning, he's a local writer, he's a performer, a composer, and a teacher. It's been a while since he's been on the show, but he's recently returned with a thought-provoking and a hilarious collection of short fiction called The Jazz Buyer. Hal, thank you for being back on the show with me today.
My pleasure.
All right, let's get started and talk about The Jazz Buyer. Tell me about this novel.
It's all short stories, and some of them are based here in the Keys, some of them are based elsewhere in the country. They're not all about music. Some of them are too racy to read aloud. They're meant to be read at home.
Right.
But it's fun stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the short stories. Tell me about one in particular, your favorite one.
Well, there's one about an 18th century colonial composer, American composer, who accidentally duplicates the world's most famous piece of choral music, which I think will be entertaining to classical music fans.
Mm-hmm.
The Jazz Buyer, it's the title piece is about a musician working in a record store and all the wacky characters you encounter in that world. They're kind of all over the map. There's some love stories and detective stuff, and there's a long novella at the end that takes place in Israel, sort of a foreign intrigue.
Okay. And now, is this different than some of your past novels, Hal?
Only in that I just decided I wanted to just do some short stories for a break. It's kind of like the difference between recording an album of songs versus trying to write a symphony. It's just nice to do little chunks that you can digest.
Okay. And now, a lot of your novels, they're music-based, too.
A lot of them, yeah. This is sort of half and half, this group of stuff.
Okay, because that is one thing, as I mentioned in the introduction, you're a performer, you're a composer, and you perform around the Keys, don't you, Hal?
Yeah, I play drums with Howard Livingston, and when I'm not with him, I play with Carl Peachy every weekend at Captain Tony's. At
Captain Tony's. Okay, so I was just going to ask, where can we find you at next?
But yeah, with Howard, our next gig is the 29th at the Sugarloaf KOA. The first big thing with him this year is November 1st at the Casa Marina, the annual Meeting of the Minds, big Parrot Head convention.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. And I play every Friday and Saturday night at Captain Tony's when I'm not with Howie.
What do you prefer to do more? Do you like performing better than writing?
They're equally fun in different ways. The one thing, of course, music exists in time, so you kind of have to just live literally in the moment and try to do things that you didn't think you could do, just on the spur of the moment, which is always a nice challenge. Writing, of course, is a lot. You're going to be a lot more patient and be willing to go back and fix things 1,000 times, because every time you think you've got it where you want it, you read it again 2 days later and
you want it.
I need to do this sentence over again.
You want to change in it, right?
Yeah, and that's just sort of, I think all writers are like that.
And I always ask some of the authors on the show, I like to know how they stay disciplined as a writer. So how do you personally stay disciplined?
That's a good question. The real pros say just sit down and write every single day. And if you've got 1,000 things going on, that's not always easy to do. But I try to do that. I try to at least be proofreading or editing every day on something, so you just keep the flow of words going and keep the thought process going.
Would you have any tips for any of our viewers out there who maybe want to be authors or think they're writers?
Probably take a couple of courses in creative writing and have good grammar. There's an awful lot of bad grammar out there.
And we see it a lot, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, and Hal, what's the next book for you? Do you have anything in the works
right
right now?
I have a second edition of a memoir called The Human Drummer coming out probably in the next couple of months. This is just revised a little bit and updated from the previous edition.
Okay.
And it's like The Jazz Buyer, it's going to be an ebook only, so people want to go to Amazon and Barnes and Noble and those places to buy it.
Okay, wonderful. And for more information on Hal, you can check out his website, which is located on the bottom of the screen. Hal, thanks for being back on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks again.
I'm going to take a quick break right now. Please stay with me. I'll be back with Kim Romano right after these messages.